All right, anatomy students, we are going to continue on with the female component of the reproductive system. This is going to be video lecture 4 in the series, but video 2 on the female, and we'll finish up talking about the female today. And we're going to pick up where we left off on video 3 on the same slide, so that we remember where we were. And we'll start there talking about the post-ovulatory phase. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, everyone. Welcome to the 4th video in the series. This is the 2nd lecture concerning the female. And we're going to pick up where we left off on video 3, ending with the post-ovulatory phase in the female and her reproductive cycle. So at the end of the last video, we talked about how the post-ovulatory phase is the most constant in duration and lasts from days 15 through 28 in a 28-day cycle, the time between ovulation and the onset of the next menstrual period. So I wanted to start here with the last slide we had, because at this point, in reference to the uterus, we can choose 2 paths. The first path is going to be not pregnant path, and the second path will be the pregnancy path. And what happens? What's the difference between the hormonal changes and the structural changes that happen, whether or not there is a fertilized zygote present in the uterus. With reference to the uterus, this phase is also known as the secretory phase because of the secretory activity, or the secretions, the secreting that's going on. The secretory activity of the endometrial glands, again, that inner lining of the uterus, as the endometrium thickens in anticipation of implantation. So at this point, at the beginning of this phase, the uterus is getting ready to receive a fertilized egg, or as we have stated before, that ball of cells, the blastula at this point. Not sure exactly how many cell divisions would have taken place as that egg is moving its way down the fallopian tube, but I'm sure it's different for every pregnancy out there. But it definitely is going to be a small collection of cells, whether it's 64 cells or a number that is even larger than that. I couldn't tell you. I'm no obstetrician, but the uterus is getting ready to receive that fertilized egg. And as we ended with our last lesson, but before this one on video 3, we stated that a woman's body is preparing for pregnancy every 28 days. She's getting ready to be pregnant every cycle, every menstrual cycle. And this just illustrates that the uterus is ready to receive that fertilized egg. It just needs to have that egg present. This phase is also called the luteal phase, during which both estrogen and progesterone are secreted in large quantities by the corpus luteum. Remember, that is the bulge on the ovary, where the ovary is healing from the rupture that occurred during the release of the egg in the process of ovulation. It is progesterone which is responsible for preparing the endometrium to receive a fertilized ovum. So that hormone is responsible for the uptake and the receiving of that ovum. If fertilization and implantation do not occur, so we're going to start heading down the path of no pregnancy for this cycle. The corpus luteum degenerates and becomes the corpus albicans, or the white body. This will cause a decreased secretion of progesterone, and as we just learned on the last slide, that is the hormone that is responsible for the uptake of the egg on the inner lining of the uterus. And estrogens, so there's going to be a decrease in progesterones and estrogens that initiates another menstrual phase. Here is where we see the hormonal shift. So during ovulation, a woman's hormone secretions are high. There will be a fair amount, high levels of progesterone and estrogen. And if pregnancy does not occur, then those hormone levels are going to drop. And in some women, the way I understand it, this drop in hormone level is what can cause PMS, and that is a documented condition that's out there. If fertilization and implantation do occur, so now we're going to talk about what happens if a pregnancy results. The corpus luteum is maintained until the placenta takes over the hormone-producing functions. So just so we're clear, the placenta is going to be the enclosure, the membrane that's going to surround the developing embryo and later the developing fetus. A lot of people are under the misnomer that the baby is inside the uterus and that's it. The baby is inside the uterus, but the placenta is a membrane that surrounds and encloses the baby inside the uterus. So if you remember when we pulled some of the kittens out of the pregnant cat, we had to cut the uterus open and then remove the baby from the kitten from the placenta. So that is a protective, that's a nourishing, that is the baby's lifeline to mother. We're mammals. So, they always say, oh, when a woman's pregnant, they always say, oh, you're eating for two. And that is pretty accurate statement. Whatever the mother takes into her body and whatever substances are presented into her bloodstream, then when her blood circulates through her uterus, the placenta will pick up those nutrients and medications, drugs, oxygen, all of those, and it will pass to the baby's blood. And the baby's blood is going to circulate via the umbilical cord into the placenta. And that's how the baby is nourished. So in egg-laying animals, the baby is going to get all of its nourishment from whatever's inside the egg, and from the egg yolk. And when that is gone, then the baby hatches the egg. There's no more food. Let's get out of here. And in humans, the mother nourishes the baby's body, by her actions. So if she's malnourished, the baby will be malnourished. If she smokes, the baby will be exposed to nicotine. If she drinks, the baby will be exposed to alcohol. If she consumes, as I do, high levels of caffeine, the baby will be exposed to those levels of caffeine. So, that old wives' tale of, oh, you're eating for two is, in this case, pretty accurate. And it all comes through the placenta. During this time, the corpus luteum, maintained by the HCG hormone, or human chorionic gonadotropin, from the developing placenta, secretes estrogens and progesterones to support pregnancy and breast development of lactation. So towards the end of the pregnancy, the hormone levels are going to cause a woman's breast to lactate or start producing milk in preparation for a nursing baby. Let's take a minute and discuss the act of nursing a baby. It is very beneficial for a mother to breastfeed her baby, usually within the first few months of the baby's life, especially early on. The studies have shown that babies are healthier if they are able to nurse from mom during the first few months of her life. What happens is, especially in those first few nursing sessions, there is a substance called colostrum that the mother will pass to the baby, and there will be some antibodies, and it will give the baby's immune system a jump start. Our immune system learns as it goes through life. I'm sure you may have noticed that if you have younger siblings, that your young children get sick way more often than the older children, and even less often the adults become sick. And that's because the adults have already had those illnesses. Their body knows how to fight them with their immune system. And so your immune system gets better with practice. So it's okay to, not wash your hands and use hand sanitizer every time you touch something. Your body, and I know in today's world with COVID-19, it kind of sounds counterintuitive, but you get chicken pox one time. And when I was a kid, whenever someone in the neighborhood had chicken pox, all of the other parents would go let their kids play with that child so that their child would get chicken pox and be done with it early on, and they would never have to worry about it again. You get it one time and you're done. Now they vaccinate for it. But back when I was a kid, the way we vaccinated for it was to go get the disease and have it one time. And because chickenpox is that virus is a double-stranded DNA, it doesn't mutate much. So your body learns how to defeat it. And once it defeats it, then it knows how to defeat it again. And when you're exposed to the chickenpox virus, you are immune and you no longer get that illness. So that first few months of nursing is very crucial to the health of the baby. So here's the diagram. It kind of shows what's going on. We look at from ovulation to fertilization. Good morning, Oz.
Good morning. What are we talking about today, Mr. Grippa?
We are finishing up the female component of the reproductive system. So if we look here on day one, the ovary here will rupture and release the unfertilized egg or oocyte into the pelvic cavity. The cilia lining the inside of the fallopian tube will draw the oocyte into the fallopian tube, and it will then be moved down the uterine or fallopian tube, where it will await the sperm cells. And now there will be any number, could be hundreds, could be thousands of sperm cells that will find the egg. And at that point, whichever one penetrates the cell membrane and fertilizes the egg, that will be the one that will determine then the genetic makeup that is responsible for the male. So for example, that will then give the chromosomes to determine its gender, whether it be chromosomally male or chromosomally female. As we know, females are XX chromosomally, males are XY, and each of these sperm cells is going to carry either an X or a Y chromosome. And whichever one fertilizes the egg, that will be the determining factor. At that point, the egg will then begin, it is referred to as a zygote, and it will then begin to divide. As you can see through the process of mitosis, we're going this way, and we're starting to add more cells to this ball of cells or blastula. And as we're moving our way down, we get to the edge where we're just ready to be presented into the uterus. We are still the same size, still roughly the same size as that original egg. It's just that inside there are a higher number of cells. So all of that cytoplasm just keeps getting divided up, and the cells become smaller but more numerous. And then around day 5, we're making our way into the uterus, and it is referred to as a blastocyst. And you can start to see the cells are dividing at different rates. So some of them are dividing faster than others. And this is what's going to give us those germ layers, the mesoderm, endoderm, and ectoderm. And then those germ layers are going to start to differentiate and become different body tissues, and will ultimately become different organs. And then, as we know, due to the structural levels of organization, those organs are going to work together in our 11 organ systems. So by day 6 or 7, so we're looking at a week after conception, which is back here, about a week after conception, this blastocyst will be implanted on the inside wall of the uterus. And this is, if it implants and is successful, this is basically where some people will agree that this is now the first stage of pregnancy. It's not a done deal. There is a lot of stuff that needs to happen. In some cases, this egg will implant, and there may be stressors on the woman's body, and it will not take, and it will then be lost during the next menstrual cycle. And there are studies out there that will discuss statistically how often a fertilized egg doesn't implant and will be expelled at the next menstrual cycle. But I don't have those numbers, and I believe you could probably find lots of different numbers from many different sources and what is considered to be an acceptable study. But just because its egg is fertilized does not mean that it will implant and become a baby. All right, so that is pretty much going to take care of the female component of the reproductive system, and I think it's going to be a good place for us to stop today. All right, that's going to do it for the female component of the reproductive system. We have one more video left, and that will be it for the reproductive system. As always, if you have any questions, shoot me an email. And before you get out of here, don't forget, click like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.